Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Pokemon fans and Pokemon trainers everywhere. Today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at Beheeyem. Yeah, Beheeyem, that is an interesting deck. I think that's pretty much how you say that. This is a non-meta, anti-meta deck that will basically burst up your opponent's Tag Team GX or GX Pokemon and not let you take any damage. Let's take a look at this deck list, how it works, how you're supposed to play it, and keep following for a future video featuring Beheeyem gameplay with commentary. Like and subscribe, and let's get into this. So first up, the Pokemon. Let's take a look at our primary Pokemon here, Beheeyem. This Pokemon evolves from Elgyem. That's how you say this one. These two Pokemon, here's an interesting fact, are based on aliens. It says so right here. It controls tremendous psychic power. Most reports of alien sightings are actually just people mistaking Elgyem for an alien. And the name Elgyem comes from little green men. There's an interesting tidbit. His evolution, Beheeyem, his name comes from Beheeyem, or bug-eyed men, also an alien-based Pokemon. So that's really interesting. So, Elgyem, 60 HP, basic psychic Pokemon. He has one attack, Psybeam, for one psychic energy, but we're not really concerned about that because we are never going to be attacking with him. The only Pokemon that gets to attack in this deck is Beheeyem right here. And we're going to only be attacking with the Mysterious Noise attack. For 3 colorless energies, he does 90 damage, but we're more concerned about his effect. Shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. Your opponent can't play any item cards from their hand during their next turn. That's right, the item lock is back with Beheeyem. You attack. The primary objective of this deck is to be able to attack every single turn, so your opponent is item locked, can't play items from his hand, can't retreat his Pokemon unless he expends energy. So that's pretty much how we're going to aim to play this. So, of course, we are running 4 Elgyems, 4 Beheeyems, as they are our primary attacker. But how does this work? He keeps going back into the deck if he attacks, right? We have to be able to get him out every single turn. So let's take a look at the rest of the Pokemon before we get into the trainer cards and the strategy. So we have a Ditto Prism Star for a little bit of versatility in our evolutions. What do we need to evolve? We have a total of 3 evolutions in this deck. Our primaries are Elgyem and Beheeyem, and also our supporters, which are Pidgey and Pidgeotto. For if anybody doesn't know what this card does already, the ability of Pidgeotto is Airmail. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand. Put the other card at the bottom of your deck. So, you will get to choose between 2 cards. The ideal setup is to have 2 Pidgeottos on the field so you can draw 2 extra cards every turn. That's 3 cards a turn, so you have a lot of options and you get to play the cards that you want. He is your draw Pokemon that we want on the bench. So 2 Pidgeottos, but we're running 3 for consistency. Goomy! This Pokemon is interesting. It's a 40 HP Dragon-type Pokemon, but we're playing it mainly for its ability here, Sticky Membrane. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's attacks cost 1 energy more. 1 normal energy more, but that is annoying. So if your opponent thinks he has enough energies on his Pokemon to be able to attack you, he has to think again. So we're running 2 of these, and they are going to stall your opponent from being able to attack you on certain turns, and that's very, very important. The main defensive Pokemon, the main support Pokemon for this deck is your Alolan Ninetales. The ability Luminous Barrier prevents the attacks of your opponent, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's GX or Pokemon X. We are never going to be able to attack with this Ninetales, so that is not going to be our primary objective here because we don't have the Fairy Energy. We are not running that, so this Pokemon is mainly to keep your opponent's Pokemon GX from attacking us. And we're going to play that with the beautiful U-Turn Board here. So he is never ever going to get a chance to attack you as long as you switch and play your cards right. So, to get the 2 Alolan Ninetales, we're running 2 Alolan Vulpix. This is the ideal Vulpix. I don't have 2 of this card, so we're running another one, but you want to have this. This has Roar. Your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. A little bit of gusting in there since we don't have any other form of gusting in this deck. But yeah, you should run 2 of these. You have 2 cards. That's a free attack. Don't need to attach anything. You should be good. But that's the Pokemon lineup for this deck. Let's take a look at the trainer cards. We're running 3 Acro Bikes because we want to thin the deck. I'll get back to that later. We're running 1 Adventure Bag because getting these U-Turn boards, at least 1 or 2 of them in our hand early, is super duper important so we can stall our opponent and also be able to attack with our Beheeyem every turn. So the basic strategy for this deck is to be able to put down your Pidgeys, get them into Pidgeottos, and simultaneously have at least 1 Elgyem on your field every turn on your bench so that the next turn you can evolve him into Beheeyem. Bring out your Beheeyem with these triple acceleration energies and hit your opponent, and then shuffle your Beheeyem back into your deck, and then that lets you switch into either the Goomy or the Ninetales depending on your situation. Now, this is not 100% unbreakable. This deck can suffer if your opponent has a lot of non-GX Pokemon that are viable and can attack you. He can kill your Goomies pretty quickly. He can kill your Alolan Ninetales, and eventually forcing you to give up your Pidgeys, eventually forcing you to give up an Elgyem or 2, which may put you in a tight spot. It's definitely not unwinnable, but that is something to keep note of. Primarily, we want to be fighting GX Pokemon, and if we're fighting a GX deck, this works really well because you're drawing multiple prizes for every attack that you get off. 90 damage, that stacks up pretty quickly there. And also, if your opponent isn't running any healing, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble trying to fend off this Beheeyem deck here. So the Adventure Bag, as I said, for grabbing those early U-Turn boards, attach them to either Ninetales or your Goomy preferably. Switch them in when your Beheeyem gets shuffled back into your deck, and then switch them right back out when you need to attack for free. And in case one of these Pokemon dies, no need to worry, that U-Turn board is going to come right back to your hand, because if this card is discarded from play, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile. So that is how that is going to work. Mysterious Treasure, we're running 4 of these so we can grab our Psychic Elgems every turn. We definitely don't want to not be able to attack and give our opponent a chance, although that does happen on the occasion or 2 in every game, because you may not have an Elgyem on the bench to evolve immediately, but that's when Ditto Prism Star comes in handy, so you can have that versatility. You can evolve him into either Pidgeotto, Alolan Ninetales, Beheeyem. If you evolve him into a Beheeyem, the good thing is if you get to attack with that Beheeyem, he will get shuffled right back into your deck. Again, letting you put him on the bench, again giving you multiple options. Really great card to have in this deck, the Ditto Prism Star. Overall, I think he works really well. For Pokégear 3.0s, you know what this is for. This is going to help you draw your supporter cards. Super important for this deck, especially the Elm's Lecture for setting up. Let's take a look at this right now. Search your deck for 3 Pokemon with 60 HP or less, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, 3 Pokemon with 60 HP or less, well, that's most of your Pokemon, isn't that? That's pretty much all of these guys here, minus the Beheeyem, and then all these 2 here, minus the Ninetales. So, that's a great card, lets you set up any way you want, especially the first turn. Really good to have, and if you have a Cynthia in your hand, that's a shuffle for the second turn if you don't have the cards you need. That's why we're running 4 Cynthias. That's why we're running 2 Lilies. Lets you draw if you're running a thin hand. Lets you shuffle back your hand if you're running a bad hand. That's great. 2 Copycats, also for the draw support. If your opponent has a lot of drawing cards, if he's running those welders, you know when to slap that Copycat down, get a nice full hand, get a lot of options to play. Really good. Tate Liza is functional for either drawing or a potential switch. If you don't have your U-Turn board, it doesn't happen a lot. You'll mostly use them for shuffling in your cards to maybe try to get a triple acceleration energy. There's only 4 of them in this deck, and they are super, super critical. I'm going to get back to the stadiums. I skipped them on purpose. Let's do the triple acceleration. So, triple acceleration energy. This card can only be attached to your evolution Pokemon. If this card is attached to one of your Pokemon, discard it at the end of this turn. This card provides 3 standard energy only when attached to an evolution Pokemon. If this card is attached to anything other than an evolution Pokemon, discard this card. So, a lot of ways this can go down the drain, but if you put it on Beheeyem, guess what? It goes right back into your deck, and as long as you don't get unlucky with an Acro Bike and you get 2 of these in a row and you have to discard 1, you should be pretty consistent with your energy flow. I think most games I've been able to get one pretty much every turn. There are going to be 1 or 2 of those turns in the middle where you don't get one, and then you'll be forced to give up maybe a Goomy or a Pidgey or a Pidgeotto. These are your most sacrificable Pokemon. If your opponent has non-GX Pokemon, then maybe you can bench some Ninetales to take 1 or 2 hits. But if he has GX Pokemon, then you want to probably sacrifice these guys first, then maybe a Ninetales or a Vulpix, and then maybe an Elgyem before you have to sacrifice the other Ninetales. That's how that's going to work. So the triple acceleration energy is super important for your Beheeyem in this game. So let's get back to the stadiums. This is something I've started running. I don't think... so this deck was run at Worlds. It was super successful. I don't think the actual 100% accurate deck list is available online anywhere. If I'm wrong, correct me. Maybe somebody has that, but I haven't seen it. So there have been a few other altered deck lists that I've seen, but this is a little bit of my own style. I like putting in the Shrine of Punishment, just in terms of the stadium card here. If you're playing against a GX deck, which is where this deck shines, putting in 2 Shrine of Punishments can really be a pain for your opponent. The only GX deck I would be a little weary of playing this is probably anything with the Reshazard in it, and maybe the Mewtwo Mew decks if he has the Reshazard in it as well, because he can stack his damage with his Outrage, and then if you're doing damage to him, he gets to do more damage, which is alright if you have the Ninetales, because these Pokemon GX still can't attack you, but that is something I would consider. Maybe you don't want to drop it out early in those scenarios. But yeah, that's the only situation where I can really think of it backfiring against you in this deck. And the other stadium, this is I think in the meta deck that this guy played, Blizzard Town. Pokemon with 40 HP or less remaining, both yours and your opponent's, can't attack. Since you're not attacking with anything but your Beheeyem, and if he attacks, he's not going to be on the field, it's not really a problem for you. Your opponent, although if he's taking stacking damage, those 90 damage hits from those BMs, then he's gonna be attack locked as well, apart from being item locked. So that is the Beheeyem deck, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is what we're looking at. So that you want to play it, as I said, with probably putting 1 or 2 Pidgeottos down on the bench. Definitely having an Alolan Ninetales for a GX deck, or definitely having a Goomy or 2 down for a non-GX deck. Try to do as much damage as you can as quick as possible, and thin your deck out. That's something I wanted to mention. You want to be able to thin your deck, get rid of cards you don't need. You can do that super quick with Acro Bike. You can do that super quick with Mysterious Treasure. You can just throw down your Pokégears if you don't need them, or if you're going to Cynthia your hand anyway. Just thin your cards out so you can get only your Beheeyems, only your Elgyems, and your triple acceleration energies. But that is the strategy. As I said, keep watching for more. I think we're going to be uploading a Beheeyem live commentary gameplay video in the next few days. That should be fun. And yeah, so signing off here, boys and girls. Have a good night, good day, wherever you are. Have fun and try out this Beheeyem deck.